John Seacott, executive editor of Brewer. Welcome to another edition of Brewer Podcast here on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to follow along. And of course, 24 hours a day, we're available at brewermag.com. We are also sponsored by Square and Keg Logistics. Running a restaurant is a lot. You start out with a vision for something special, but that vision gradually gets overshadowed by the day-to-day of it all. Well, the thing that I love about Square is how it helps take some of that pressure off so you can actually enjoy why you started in the first place. Now, when Square steps in, helping you save on food costs, you get your menu seen by millions on Cash App and get delivery payouts even faster. It frees up time and mental energy in a world where both are typically in short supply. Square, here for the magic that's not on the menu. Go to square.com/goodstuff to get started. That's square.com/goodstuff. We are also sponsored by Keg Logistics, and you can check out keglogistics.com/brewer for more details. Well, today we're focusing on something that plays a critical role in the craft beer industry, but sometimes operates behind the scenes. It's your state Brewers Guild. These organizations are advocating for your breweries at the state and federal level. They create educational opportunities and bring brewers together through different things like conferences, competitions, and of course, you end up with those collaborations. And as the craft beer landscape continues to evolve, the role of these guilds has become more important than ever. And to help us better understand that impact, I chatted with Paul Leone, the executive director of the New York State Brewers Association, and we got into how state brewer conferences have changed over the years, the logistics behind organizing the events, and even how things differ from national gatherings like CBC. We're going to talk about their 10th anniversary of the New York State Craft Beer Competition, the rise of lager entries that they saw, advocacy efforts, including the annual hill climb that they the executive directors do in Washington, D.C., and why it's important for breweries to be active members in their state guild. Here's my conversation with Paul Leone on the Brewer Podcast. This Brewer Mag Podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And here on the Brewer Magazine podcast, we are joined by Paul Leone, the executive director of the New York State Brewers Association. Paul, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Thanks, John. Good to see you too.
Yeah, and the thing is, we were just talking off camera. It's been a busy time for you, and that's kind of what some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. But like this last month is such a busy time for you guys, and we'll kind of work in reverse order. You're just coming off of the New York State Brewers Conference. How did things go? I think you've been executive director since 2013, so I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes through it. Tell me how this year's went in Albany.
Every year's different year, I mean, when we started this thing pre-COVID, it was a growing monster, and even if you look at even the seminars in the early days and how they vary from year to year based on where the industry is. And so, we've really kind of grown it to a way where we think we're sort of found our wheelhouse after, 9 years of this conference.
Sure. What are some of those things that, like, what are the needs that are needed now versus maybe what you saw? I mean, I think a lot of it might have been quality stuff at the beginning. Now it's business management and, sustainability. I mean, like, have you seen those changes?
Yeah, that's you nailed it. I mean, that really, like in the early days, it was right, like a lot of 101 brewing classes, how to propagate yeast and how to like those were the most well attended, or how to do packaging, how to do this, how to do that. And now, right now, there is a movement more towards social media marketing and tap room and business management and accounting and all of those things are kind of like more important and well attended, this year than in years past.
So how fast do you have to turn around and start working on the next year's? Like, are you already, planning things? Like, what's the end of the timeline for putting together a state conference as a guild leader?
We start talking about it in August. So ours is in March every year. So, it's almost 6 months at least of planning. It just, even though it's the same every year, there's a lot of moving parts in this. And really, if you think about a brewers conference, other than getting together and drinking beer and having exhibitors and all of that sort of thing, which is a lot of fun, really it's the educational component. So, you have to put together your conference committee, and then the conference committee gets together, and then you put out, mass emails to all your members and businesses, and, submit your abstracts and what you want to talk about. And then they have to go through them. And then it's finding sponsors. It's just every month there's just more to do until it happens.
But it's important, like you said before we started, that it's something that the guild needs to do, A, for the educational aspect, and B, to help you guys throughout the year as well.
Yeah, the conference is critical on a lot of levels. I think education, ours has grown to 3 days, which is a lot of time to ask for brewers. And but when they're there, the education, but not only the education, I sort of, to see them all smiling. A lot of them that are there, can barely afford to be there, A, afford time wise, and B, money wise. But it's like, I feel like the conference has turned into sort of therapy for a lot of them.
Sure.
Because a lot of them get so bogged down in their day-to-day and their breweries, and just like any breweries or brewer around the country, they don't get out nearly as often as they should. So when they do, and you're in a room with 600 people that do what you do and understand what you do, I just feel like it's really therapeutic for everybody there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just sat in on a podcast yesterday as they were wrapping things up, and it's more of a consumer-based a podcast. But people were like milling out, and we're just waving them down and like handing them a microphone and talking. And that's the number one thing. It's like it rejuvenates you. It's a spa day, yeah, for your mind and for your emotional health. I mean, because you get a chance to talk to people about things that sometimes you're in your own little bubble of
Right.
your local city, all those people, but you get a chance. I saw as I walked away, like there's breweries from Toledo talking to breweries from Dayton and Cincinnati, and guys that they just never have a chance to be able to talk to, and be able to go out and have a beer. And all of a sudden I'm talking to someone from in the other side of the state, having a beer, and just it was great. Like I'm on the journalist side, but it's the fact of
Mhm.
just to get to know what's going on with you guys. How are things going? It gives us ideas as well, which is why I love going to the state guilds, because CBC is great, but you're
Mhm.
talking to people from all over the country. It can be a madhouse. At least for me, I live in Ohio. I know I can get to these people if I need to within 2 or 3 hours, if I want to be able to get more out of it or jump on a phone call with them. I think that's a really important part of those state guilds as well. And like you said.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're totally right. State guild conferences are a lot different than the national CBC, and they both, really serve their purposes well, I think.
Yeah. Well, right before that, you guys had your 10th annual state competition. And thank you again. This is how we got a chance to see
You're
each
right.
other during
Ohio.
Ohio's very first one that they had. And you were kind of behind the scenes helping us out and seeing things. How did it go? I see it. I mean, I looked through those, like the entries and the winners: light lager, American light lager, modern and contemporary, amber lager, dark lager. It
Hmm.
was a lager year. I mean, what was it like this year for you guys to have the competition?
It's so funny that you say that, because it's like, right, every year, when you go to GABF or World Beer Cup, the biggest category, and it still is, I think, for them, a hazy IPA or IPA, and so it's funny to see how trends change. And this was the first year that lagers was the largest category entered, and hazy IPA was number two. And I think that really just shows you the trend of, multi-generational trend, I think, for beer that tastes like beer, and more brewers are brewing them. Low alcohol content, all of those things are what you're seeing all over the country. And every brewer should have, a low alcohol, you know, beer that tastes like beer on their menu. And so a lot of them are brewing them, and that's what we saw this year.
And I think the number one thing that and you've been around long enough, is to see the quality improve as well. Like sometimes state competitions, you would get some stuff, and there'd be some either harsh criticisms or gentle pushing in the way. I mean, I remember talking to judges after the Ohio Beer Awards, and they were like, "We were shocked how great some of this beer was." So do you guys kind of get that same thing? Do you see the quality increasing over the years?
Yeah, I think back in the early days, and I will willfully admit this. When this competition first started, a judge would get like a flight of 8, and they had to pass 3 to the next round. And in the early days, they had a hard time passing 3 to the next round. Like it was, because they couldn't find 3 really worthy, beers to move forward. And today we're seeing just the opposite, where they get a 8 and they have to pass 3, and they're like, well, we've got like 6 on here that could easily pass, and it's really harder for them. And that we really, just like in Ohio, like this competition is not a metal factory. We bring in, most everybody's BJCP certified or Cicerone certified or a beer professional in some way. So we try to make it as hard as possible, because when you win that medal, you want them to feel like it's a well-deserved medal, right? It's something that they take pride in. So we take it very seriously about the people in the room and the notes and all of those things that go along with it. But yeah, the trends have changed. Brewers, I mean, they should by now, right? Especially those that have been in the business for a while, be making great beer. If if they've been in business for a while, you really have no excuse not to. Like, why are you doing this?
Do you ever get a chance to be surprised at the awards? You get a chance, probably in the competition side because you're drinking the beer then versus, but just, surprised like, oh, I'm so happy that, I'm seeing some of these smaller guys making, beer, winning things. I know obviously Grimm seems to be the big monster in New York right now with the brewery of the year, but is it a happy stance that you at some point you get to see some smaller breweries picking up medals as well?
Yeah, Grimm has won 5 brewery of the years out of the last 6 years. But here's the thing, Grimm makes really great beer, right? I mean, like,
Exactly.
it's not like they can enter. There are years that they've entered a lot of different beers where they've won 1 or 2 medals. And so it really just goes to show that it's not like the more medals, the more brewery beers they enter, the more they win. They just make really great beer, and they do enter a lot of beers. But a lot of things, Grimm, even though they won, they were a lot of categories where, like, Grimm might have won the silver, but this little brewery somewhere else won a gold in that same category, right? And so that's really great, because Grimm makes great beer and they've dominated over the last few years. But this little brewery in Geneva, New York, that makes this beer, beat them, right, in that category. So that's really great to see. And every year there's always a lot of like new breweries. There's a brewery that just opened up last year that won a medal. So that's really great to see.
That's awesome. Well, kind of working backwards through the last month of you, I mean, you go back 30 days and you were in Washington, D.C. for the Brewers Association Hill Climb.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went on their website and you were featured on there as one of the people writing why, the Hill Climb was so important and, saying that you've been doing it, now for 13 years and how important that process is. And that's kind of why I wanted to contact you, because I love being able to hear from people on the legislative side. And like I said, I'm working on some stories right now with the legislative stuff here in Ohio. What was important for you this year and what going forward? Like, who do you talk to? Like, what's your hill climb day like?
I think my favorite part about it, by the way, regardless, politics is polarizing more than ever right now, right?
Yeah.
And so what's really great about being in beer is that beer truly is bipartisan. So for us, New York is a very blue state, very liberal state. But we meet with, the Republican colleagues as well, and the meetings are just as productive. And if we talk about beer, then we have all of that in common. And so, Republicans or Democrats all like beer because beer is small business in their districts. And so it really is an easy lift when you go there and you talk to them about beer and you talk to them about the businesses and in these little towns, whether it's in New York or Ohio or anywhere else. It's important to them. And so, I don't know, it's just an honor and a privilege, no matter who's in the White House, to walk the halls of Congress. It really is just something that I never take for granted. And to talk about beer is just kind of pinch me moments of like, this is the coolest job ever, to be walking these halls talking about beer with these people.
Yeah. What's some of your favorite parts? I mean, obviously you get to see all the other guild directors, executive directors. You guys have like your own little sorority as well. I know you guys all know each other. I contact Mary or you and you'll be able to hook me up with everyone probably for the most part.
For
But
sure.
when it comes to like being in DC, I mean, the first time that you did it versus, the 13th time that you've done it, what's some of the coolest parts? I mean, it's our nation's capital. There's so much history there. You get to go and, like you said, walk these halls. I mean, what's some of your favorite parts of that when you're there?
The experiences are wide and varied. Like you can go and meet with actually a member of Congress or a senator, which, Chuck Schumer used to be a regular with us, just kind of coming and popping in,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, there's your state senator, and he's sitting with you talking about beer stuff, or having a meeting in the Capitol, which is very cool, and it's also rare. For those that don't know, it's like the way it's set up is like, Congress is on. One side and Senate is on the other side of the Capitol, and you have to go back and forth. And sometimes your meetings can be like, hey, you're going to meet with a staffer out in the hallway, and they're just going to talk to you out in the hallway, and you go over a few things. Or a member of Congress, will invite you into their office, and you'll sit down and have like a genuine conversation. So it's just wide and varied, and you hope for the latter. You hope that you meet with the actual member, and I think the coolest part to me is when you see all of these faces on national news, these really, the most popular people, polarizing people on, both sides of the aisle, is when you go down to the cafeteria and you walk around, and then there they are. You're just sort of passing them casually in the hallways. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's such and such, and there's such and such, and you got to be cool. You just walk it like you got to act like you belong there, but it's still pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I actually just finally, because I am terrible at catching up on TV. I just finished West Wing. So,
Oh, wow.
but
All right.
yeah, I'm a little behind.
That's all right.
But it's just cool because like you see so much interaction going on there, and like just the little bits and pieces. And my wife kept turning to me through the entire series and saying like, I can't believe, like, I know obviously this is fictionalized and there's a lot of, different things, but like Sorkin usually does a pretty good job of making TV reality to a point, and I know with the newsroom stuff that he did as well, I thought was very well done, being in working in a former TV station. So to see some of that, I'm floored. So like when you do get to do that, and you hear like, hey, we're going to be going to DC to talk to members of Congress, I always think it's so cool to get to see that from that way. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I don't think day-to-day small business owner brewery people like think that's actually an important part of the job, is to make your voice heard, because there are so many voices,
Mm-hmm.
and it's important to be there. And I'm glad that you guys do something like that every year.
And by the way, you can go. Anybody can go whenever you want to. It's not like you
Right.
have to have an invitation. We have meetings set up that the BA does, but you can literally. I mean, it's our house, right? And so we
Yep.
could literally, all of us could walk. Go in and in a multiple layers of security, of course, in order to get in, which is fine. But yeah, you can go to any legislator's office you want to, knock on their door, and see if they're there, and if they're not there, and talk about your issues to a staffer.
Yeah. And it's important to have those issues discussed. So
Hmm.
speaking of issues that are important, what's the issues that are important in New York right now? What is kind of on the docket for you? And what's your hardest things that you're working on, and what are the wish list stuff? This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. Running a restaurant is a lot. You start out with a vision for something special, but that vision gradually gets overshadowed by the day-to-day of it all. Now, the thing that I love about Square is how it helps take some of that pressure off of you, so you can actually enjoy why you started in the first place. When Square steps in, helping you save on food costs, get your menu seen by millions on Cash App, and get delivery app payouts faster, it frees up time and mental energy in a world where both are typically in short supply. Square, here for the magic that's not on the menu. Go to square.com/good stuff to get started. That's square.com/good stuff.
New York is. We've gotten a lot done. We're a pretty liberal state. You can do pretty much anything here. It's like it's shocking to me like that Ohio is still working on franchise law, and it's still shocking to me that, in Georgia and maybe not so much in some of the southern states, that they're still fighting for self-distribution. These are things that, are old prohibition era laws that have gone away a long time ago, right? And especially with wholesalers consolidating like they are, like to get a wholesaler now, it's just it's out. Any brewery that's out there right now that don't even think about getting into distribution unless you're already in it. And if you're already in it, you already know how hard it's getting. So our big issues in New York are mostly defensive issues. Wine in grocery stores is a big issue. We don't want wine in grocery stores. You can't get wine in grocery stores in New York State. Wine is sold in liquor stores. And beer is sold in grocery stores and in beer stores, and so in convenience stores. And so we feel like this happened in Colorado, where if grocery stores start putting wine in it, where are they going to put the wine? They're going to put them in the beer aisle, right? And then you're going to lose shelf space. And how do I know that's going to happen? Talk to Shawnee in Colorado, because that's exactly what happened in Colorado. So that's a big one for us. Extended producer responsibility, which is an environmental bill, which is, everybody wants to be environmentally aware and conscious, and brewers by nature do that anyway. But, it could cost them a lot of money, and it's not well thought out. Bottle deposit laws here. We have a 5-cent deposit going to 10 cents. What does that look like? All of those things. So we're kind of more or less in defensive mode. Any legislation that's going to cost brewers a dime more, than they're already paying to stay in business is a non-starter for us. So that's kind of where we are right now in New York.
When it comes to the things becoming a big deal to you, is it coming through your breweries? Is it coming through talking to state legislators, hearing things? Like, how does it bend your ear? Like, what's the process that you have seen, over these years of doing this?
I think just, there's like 500 breweries in New York. So we have the second most in the country. And so for us, it's listening to brewers, it's traveling to breweries. Every year I do a regional meeting tour. And so for like 3 months, I travel the state and meet with brewers in Mass, like, Hudson Valley meeting, New York City meeting, 2 Long Island meetings, all of that. And we gather their feedback and their pain points. And we are fortunate enough to be able to have our own lobbyist in Albany, and so she's amazing, and she has got she hears about things before anybody else does, and gets them in front of our board, who are all brewers from the entire state. And we just sort of drill down what's important, what's not important, what do our membership want, what should we stop, like it's going to cost more, it's going to cost less, is this going to allow them to sell more beer, all of those things. I mean, as a nonprofit trade association, we're that's what our job is to make sure the industry stays afloat and stays healthy, and that we're a resource for them through good times and bad. And we've seen a lot of both, over my 13-year tenure.
Sure. And that brings up the importance of guilds and why breweries should be a part. Like you said, you guys have over 500. And I know sometimes I'll talk with certain states and they'll be like, we're at like 45%, of our membership, or maybe 55%. It's never 100. And I'm sure it's, there's always difficulties, either like you said, financially, or they just don't get it. Maybe they're newer. They don't, they're like, we got so many bills right now. And I know I've kind of helped, strong arm some of my local breweries here, like, guys, just
Nice.
get a part of the OCBA. So, this is just a general pitch that I can use, why is it important to be a part of your state guild?
I don't know. I mean, this might sound too basic, but like, we're their insurance policy, in a lot of ways. Like, if we're there if you need us always. Fighting for legislative is their number one priority, and we're there for them to make sure bad laws don't get through and that the good laws pass, and that's vital to their businesses. Like, that's the number one thing that we do. And then we also, we are the marketing arm for New York State craft beer as well, and the voice of New York State craft beer as well as a whole. So we do things like, as simple as an app. Ohio has the same app that we do. They do a way better job at it than we do. Justin and Mary do a great job. But, we've got like 45,000 people that have this app that gets you to every brewery in New York State. It's not a rating app. It's an app that gets you in the door of the brewery. And so That's just one small thing. We have New York Craft Beer Day. From a marketing perspective, we still do beer festivals. Beer festivals aren't dead. We do the conference, we do the competition. But I think more importantly, there's four of us. I have a staff of three. I'm fortunate to have that. Is that if anybody ever needs anything, they know our numbers. They call me, and I get calls every day. Hey, my license is about to expire and I forgot to renew. What can I do? Great, I'll take care of it. This is who you need to talk to. Regardless of what it is, they just need to pick up the phone and call us, and we'll take care of it. We've got the connections. And I think that's the greatest thing, regardless, 7 days a week, reach out. But we have their backs. And so, but membership is gone down for every state guild, whether it's for financial, or maybe we haven't done such a great job of really saying why, your $250 membership is important to the association. So we're all working on it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So those are kind of the fun questions. I wanted to bring this up as we had Andy on, for Andy Cook on the podcast a few weeks ago, because I drove through Rochester, and on the way out,
I wish I'd seen you. I know. I forgot. Yeah. I think I was out of town or something, but yeah. Down the road. Yep.
Which is funny because I walked into a Rochester brewery, and I'm blanking on that. I should have looked it up before. They're on the canal. They're not based there, but it's a tap room.
Pittsford, maybe.
What's that?
Was it in Pittsford, or was it in was it Lock 32 or Aurora, or it was Aurora. Right on the it was right on the canal. Yeah.
Yep. It was Aurora, and I walk in, and I see a side profile of a guy that looks just like you, sit down and go, "Hey, Paul, how's it going?" And the guy looks at me. He's like, "I'm Scott."
Yeah.
Like, never mind. You look like someone else.
Yeah. So yeah, a big guy with balding guy with glasses. Yeah. Yep.
So it wasn't you, but we had a good conversation nonetheless, and we shared some beer, and it was fun.
Oh, good.
So that was a good story. But I always like to wrap up with just some more fun stuff, get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
I know that your background is TV as well. You worked behind the camera a lot more, right? Did you work and then it was more television production, shows and stuff like, how did you get into that? And, what was your background in TV? Because mine was the same. I started in journalism and used to be on a weekend sports anchor.
Yeah, this is actually my third career. I started out in baseball. I worked at the Baseball Hall of Fame for 6 years.
Oh, that's right.
In Cooperstown. And then, as their multimedia producer. And then I Cooperstown's very small, and I was in my 20s. And I just wanted to see what else was out there. And then I got a job at this new network called Home and Garden Television in DC. And everybody's like, "What are you doing that for? What's that about?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it seems interesting." So we moved to DC and just started working on cable TV shows. And that moves you around the country. And so I did that for 18 years for History Channel or PBS or whatever show we were doing. You generally had to move and go somewhere. So I dragged my family around the country. And then but what got me into beer was I don't know, I was in DC and I was doing this show, and I like fell in love with craft beer. And I heard about this guy that rowboated some beer across the river from Delaware to Pennsylvania. And his name was Sam Calagione. And I'm like, gosh, that guy would be really good for a host. So I reached out to him, email, and I said, "Hey, I want to do this TV show." And he's like, "I want to do TV." So I met Sam. We were pitching beer TV shows in 2003 and 2004 with him. I think we were too far ahead of the curve, because back then they're like, beer, I don't know, but how about wine? It's not wine, it's a beer show. And then I just did 2 other beer shows. I did one with Avery and I did one with Oscar Blues. And when I did the Oscar Blues one, I fell in love with those people and that crowd. And I just said to my wife, I'm like, I just want to do something that makes me happier in life. And I don't care if I make any money, because these are the greatest people in the world. And so I was lucky enough we moved back to New York, and I got this gig, which is the gig of gigs. So I feel like the universe was really kind to me to get here.
That's awesome. Were you a baseball guy? Is that what got you to want to work in Cooperstown, or was it just something that it was a job that you were able to get?
My roommate was from Cooperstown. I've always loved baseball, and so we'd go all the time. And it was just one of those things where I was working at the local TV station and the AV company in Rochester. Like I really didn't know. I just know, like similar to you, I'm sure. Like you just like doing media stuff, right?
Yep.
No matter what it is, that's the way your brain is wired. My brain's wired that way. Your brain's wired that way. And so I was like, where's the wind going to blow? And so I just applied and to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and they just happened to have a job opening, and I got it. So again, I don't know if people out there believe in fate, but sometimes the universe just speaks to you, and you just have to go with where the wind blows, and it's been, I got fortunate to get that job. So that job led to the Home and Garden Television job, which led to the History Channel job, and all of those things. And so it's been quite a ride. So
That's pretty cool. Let's do this question then. If you're a baseball guy, what is your favorite baseball movie? Like, what is your go-to? You'll be flipping through the channels or see it on the guide, and you have to finish watching it right then and there.
I would say probably Field of Dreams, just because I've been out there twice. I don't know if you've been to
In
Dyersville.
Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah, and last year 2 years ago, I did a cross-country trip, and I played catch with my son out in the outfield. For people out there who've never been to Dyersville, Iowa, and know that movie, it's the same. It looks exactly the same. Like the house is there, the field is there, the stands are there. It just is. It's magical, and so it's getting really corporate out there now. I found out Frank Thomas owns it. The big hurt baseball player.
Yep.
Like he I guess he owns it now, and they've built other fields around it. But when the corn is up, it's the same field. It's remarkable, and you can just walk out there. You have to pay a fee to go into the parking lot or whatever, and then you can just grab your glove and go out there and play. It's still the same. So that probably that movie. For what about yours? Do you have one?
8 Men Out.
Yeah. Okay, another great one, right? Kind of tied together in a weird way.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. There's a little bit of connection there. My somewhere in my family tree, one of the Black Sox is there. Eddie Seacott.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Eddie Seacott. Right. There you go. Yep.
So, and it's funny enough, I've actually run into another Seacott up in Detroit, who works at Branch Brewing, and he has the CICOTTE. So I was like, oh, you're definitely more related to Eddie than me, and he is. So it's always interesting, to be able to see that. And I got a chance in '99. Me and my buddies were like going to be graduating college in 2000. We're like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to drive and watch baseball for a couple weeks in the summer. And we went to Cooperstown. We went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. We went to the Springfield for the Basketball Hall of Fame, Tennis Hall of Fame, and Football Hall of Fame, along with like 7 or 8 major league ballparks in the course of like 3 weeks. Because we're like, you know what? We're 23 at the time, 22. We're never going to have this much time off again. And funny enough, my 50th birthday is going to be coming up here next year. And me and my buddy and my other 2 good friends that were like, okay, we have to start planning our 50th, because it takes that long now as an adult to like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And
right.
Before it was just like, let's jump in a car for 3 weeks and go watch baseball. So
good for you. That sounds amazing.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
What was your favorite Hall of Fame out of all of them?
Man, baseball was so cool, just to get to see everything. But hockey. I think I could have stayed at the Hockey Hall of Fame even longer than I did, but we had tickets to the Blue Jays, which I think front row upper deck was $7 in 1999.
Nice. And those were the days. Now they're like $70.
Yeah. But yeah, those would be probably the 2. The Football Hall of Fame was fine. Like, I think I need to go back there to reappreciate it, but like I still remember the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I want to come back out to Cooperstown more, also just because Omegang's there and get a chance to like try their stuff on site as well. Those would be, I think, the 2. And I would love to get back to Toronto and see the Hockey Hall of Fame. I got to touch the Stanley Cup, which,
that's cool.
If you're a hockey guy, you get yelled at by your friends for touching it because you didn't earn it,
right?
but otherwise it was a fun time. And I probably am still paying the credit card that I
Yeah.
racked up fees for 3 weeks of buying everything on credit because I had no actual money. But
But
that
the
was fun.
memories will last forever. So that's great. I recommend everybody doing what you guys did, like at some point, if you can.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like an amazing trip.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, cool. Yeah, that's some of the stuff that I wanted to ask you. We talked some guild, we talked some baseball,
Mm-hmm.
talked some TV. I'm set.
Good. I'm so happy I got a chance to meet you in Ohio at their competition. That was fun. It was good to
Yeah,
hang
it
out.
was great. And well, best wishes to you, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk, and hopefully things are going great in New York and continue to stay great.
And thanks for doing what you do. Like it's really important. I really appreciate you asking, and I really appreciate all the people that you have on and all of that. I think it just really is good for the industry. So thank you.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now is the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.